All right, everybody. Welcome. This is Overflow Beyond the Music, the podcast. My name is Josh McCabe. I am your host. Thank you so much for tuning in to this final episode of Season 2. And I'm so excited about our guests today. But we are wrapping up final episode of Season 2, which means we have successfully completed over 18 episodes of Overflow Beyond the Music. I can't believe it's been that long already. I've been having a blast. I've been enjoying some of the guests. I hope you're enjoying the guests. It's been great getting to know them. It's been great getting to know some of you over social media. Really appreciate you tuning in and being part of this podcast. And for those who have messaged me online on our social media at Overflow BTM on Instagram, Overflow BTM on Facebook, and also on Twitter, I want to thank you for taking the time to do it. You're part of the family already, the BTM Beyond the Music family. Really appreciate you doing that. And keep the messages coming because I want to respond to all of them. So if you're listening to this podcast, if you enjoy it, or honestly, even if you just have a question or just want to hang out or we just want to chat, I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to get to know you and express my appreciation for downloading, streaming, subscribing to this podcast. One of the things I need to let you know about, though, is that it's not just enough for you just to listen to this podcast. I hope you would subscribe to it so that you will get notified when a new episode comes out. Make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast. Make sure you're following us on social media. And lastly, we just started a YouTube channel. We released our first video with a little bit of conversation from John Cooper on that. And we have more videos to come. There will be more videos on that YouTube channel. So what you're going to do, you're going to head on over to our Instagram page. You're going to follow us on there at Overflow BTM, and there you will find a link to our YouTube channel. Click on that, subscribe to our channel, and you're going to be seeing a lot of custom videos, a lot of good content, a lot of conversations happening on that channel. So make sure that you do that. All right, today's guest, Elle Limebear. She is from the UK. She lives in Brighton. And I have had the privilege of getting to know her dad a little bit. Her dad is Martin Smith, frontman from the band Delirious. Huge influence in my life. I tried not to geek out because I could talk about Delirious all day. But I'm glad that she was down to talk a little bit about Delirious and some of the influence that they had. And I'm telling you, beyond that, this girl, she has got her head on straight. She's a sweet girl. Her music's awesome. She just released a brand new EP. It's titled Elle Limebear, after her name, and you're going to want to check that out. So here is my conversation with Elle Limebear.
Here we are, face to face, lost in wonder at the God of time and space.
All right, well, it's my honor to have on the line right now, and we had to do this over the phone because she is literally on a different continent, and I'm here with Elle Limebear right now, a brand new artist, definitely not a brand new singer by any means, and we'll get into that in a minute. But Elle, how are you doing today?
So good. I'm doing fantastic. All over here, the other side of the world.
Yes, and you're coming to me from Brighton, which is, describe where Brighton is in the sense of where us North Americans just think of like, oh, everything's
Yes.
near London.
So Brighton is on the south coast of England. It's a lovely, sunny little seaside town, which is basically an hour from London. So yeah, just neighbouring city, but we love it. I think it's personally the best city in the world. It's brilliant. It's very quirky, very artsy. But yeah, so here in Brighton,
Is that where you grew up?
No, I actually grew up in pretty much a granny town village. Meaning that there was just loads of grannies.
Really? Literally. I thought that was like slang for something else.
No,
Okay.
Literally granny town. It was a place called Rustington, which is also along the beach, maybe like an hour along the coast from Brighton. But it was where my grandpa ran his church. So all of us, all the family, the wider family, all the Delirious guys, we were all there in Rustington at this one church.
Wow.
So all the Delirious guys were my uncles, so all their children are my cousins. So the whole family pretty much was at this church. And then we moved from Rustington possibly 10 years ago to Brighton. was a big old move, but it was,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, they probably need to like double their like children's staff just for your family alone, because you have a lot of siblings.
Quite a few, yeah. There's 5 others and me. But no, they're brilliant. Everyone's growing up. Everyone's doing their own thing now. So
awesome.
Brighton's like the perfect place for that.
Well, that's super cool, because I'm not sure if this is too personal, but my favorite Delirious album that actually just completely wrecked and shaped my life came out in 1996 or 7.
Wow.
Called, I think it's Live and in the Can. It came out in like 6 or
Wow.
7. So what was Ellie doing when that album came out?
Gosh. Well, I was born in 97, so
okay, wow,
barely out the womb.
Wow, that is insane. I mean, I didn't come across that album until about 2000 when I was kind of, a bit older, but that is
Isn't that
so
crazy? You were listening to it, hanging out, and I was just screaming.
Exactly. I mean, I wonder if some of the roars in the live audience is you, side stage.
It was me. Yeah.
Bleed into the mic. So. Now are you the oldest of the 6?
Yes, I am. Yeah, there's 2 years between each of us. But no, there's such a great group. Well, I love them. They're my best friends. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we're all good friends.
Well, I see you guys on Instagram getting to do a lot of family stuff together, and that's awesome.
So
that
fun.
You still do that.
Totally. And my husband, Tom, he's like best friends with my brothers, so that helps a lot, doesn't it?
So cool.
Yes.
And in fact, I was telling my mom the other day that I was going to be interviewing you, and she said you need to tell her that I loved her wedding dress. And I go,
thanks, Mom.
Yeah, I'll try and fit that in.
That is hilarious. Well, thank you.
Yeah, so my mom loves your wedding dress, so there you go.
Oh, I like it too. That's good. At least 2 of us like it.
Yeah. Well, how long have you been married now?
Nearly 2 years this October. Yeah, crazy.
That's awesome. And where did you and Tom meet? Did you guys meet in that the old Granny Town church, or
no,
was it somewhere else?
Granny Town. No, we actually met in our church in Brighton called St. Peter's. Yeah. He just came to faith. He was 18 years old, and I was just turning 16. So it was crazy. We hung out for like 2 years, and then started dating, and then got engaged a year and a half later, and then been married nearly 2 years. So quite the journey, but he's brilliant. We love our church, St. Peter's. It's in the heart of the city, so that's awesome. All of the city kind of revolves around it. It's brilliant. That's incredible.
So now that you've begun doing music sort of as Elle Limebear, which confession, I didn't realize that was Tom's last name, and I thought to myself well man, if you're gonna change your name I'm pretty sure your middle name's not Limebear. Like
quite crazy.
Where did you kind of choose that name from for like an artist name? And then it all made sense.
Yeah, I was just so bored with Smith, I just had to like get rid of it.
No, but I love it.
No, it's like from Smith to Limebear, it's quite the jump.
Yeah.
But I decided to go with that.
Well, I love it. I mean, that's your name, and
it's my name.
There's a reason why God gives us names, even if some of them we inherit.
Yes,
and
even if they're weird.
Yeah, we got to own it, and we got to
100%.
We got to take that. So, but yeah, I'm kind of curious now about most, I guess, artists when they start working with a record label and making music. Immediately, the questions that get had are, when are you moving to Nashville? Because that would be convenient for everybody. Except you.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah. So with that in mind, what has sort of been the really driving force between wanting to stay in Brighton, and what has that allowed you to do? Do you get to be involved in your local church? How does that look for you?
Yes, totally. Definitely at the start of the conversation between labels and booking agent and all of that, it's so Nashville based, which is amazing, and we love going over there. And there was all the talk of when are you going to move, everyone's there, all the writers, and it's amazing. It's such an amazing place. But but we've never felt that call from God ever. And we feel so at peace with living in Brighton and being part of our church. And me and my husband, we're part of the youth group at church too. And we absolutely love it and are so involved. So I think moving would be such an uproot to go to Nashville, and it's something that we've never felt confident in doing. So I think even though it would be so much easier, oh my goodness, like thousands and thousands of pounds on flights and, you know, hired cars and find a place to stay, and, you know, it is quite a ordeal, but
yeah,
I think we know in our hearts that we're supposed to be in Brighton and we're supposed to be involved in our church, and what we get to do is such a privilege, and the fact that we still get to live in Brighton and then go out to America and do these tours and then come back to our home, we count that as such a privilege, and it's amazing that we can do that and still be part of our church, and I can lead, you know, as much as I can on Sundays, but it's working out okay at the moment. We're loving it right now. Who knows how, you know, if we'll get even more busier, and maybe we will have to live in America for a season. But for now, we feel like, oh no, God's definitely called us to Brighton. He's like, he's having us here for a bit of time. That's all we know.
Well, I think that's important, because that's a mature response. You know, for somebody who's younger and sort of at your first, you know, I don't know, your first sort of crossroads in the...
Yeah, totally.
Like, you know, you can make music for a long time, be around it, but now you're decision making, and to choose community and home over potentially quick career boost is something that I think God rewards later on, for sure.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
And you know, I was curious about that, because it seems like, you know, the thought to stay in Brighton is about family and being close to home. And I remember hearing this kind of as a rumor, and then got it confirmed that when your dad was doing Delirious, they wouldn't tour only for a certain amount of time unless they could bring the whole family clan.
Yes.
Is like, tell me about how that looked and how that sort of has impacted some of your decisions.
Yeah, 100%. I totally remember as a child the pain and despair of like Dad leaving, but there was always a rule that they wouldn't go away longer than 10 days. So if there was any touring opportunities, you know, they got offered some amazing touring opportunities, but they stuck to their 10-day rule. And if it was over 10 days, then they wouldn't do it unless all the family could come. So that meant that most Easter holidays in April, we had a tour for a month in America where all the family could come because everyone was out of school then for the month. So that was, and those are the highlight of my life, really, those days where we're just as kids running around and traveling on tour buses with your cousins and going to sound check and eating donuts and all of that. But I think that spoke so loud also to the families too, like, oh no, this is also a priority. Like, we're doing this, but we're also, you know, want to be at home. And I guess they did have the freedom of doing that because they were a band and 5 of them were in it, and because it was family, they could make that decision. So I know not all people can make those decisions. It's tricky, but I think that's definitely had an impact on me, in that family is priority at the end of the day. You know, what we, you know, people at home and the church and what we're involved with, our roots, like that is so important. But what our calling is, and, you know, our vocation, that is so important. And I always knew that Dad going away was so important, and that's what he needed to do. And that, you know, people coming to Jesus because of their music. And I met people who, you know, their music's changed their lives. So I got it as a kid, but I definitely knew that the impact that it was having 10-day rule, for sure.
Well, and you know, it's interesting because you probably look at that and having to make you talked about some of the decisions you're making now, all the money that you're spending on flights and, you know, car rentals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, there probably was a lot of money, quote unquote, left on the table to really protect that family aspect for the band. And, I kind of say, look at the rewards, and that they have, your family is following the Lord. You're now serving the Lord with your gifts, and that's a beautiful thing that I believe God honors, and. So as you may have noticed just there, we had a little bit of interference because I'm recording this in my home, and the guy with the big giant lawnmower decided to come right by my window. So I thought this would be a perfect time to just take a quick second break from this podcast so we can hear some tunes by Delirious, so you can have a little context about the band we're talking about. So here's some music from Delirious. So for Ellie, as a young girl, being surrounded by her dad, the frontman of Delirious, being surrounded by people like Darlene Zschech and some of the most influential worship leaders and artists in the world, I wanted to ask Ellie how she began to find her voice and identity.
To be honest, I've never actually there was never a kid dream that Ellie wanted to be an artist or be a singer, or I never wanted to be on stage or anything like that. I think because I saw Dad do it, and that was amazing. But I also saw the hardness of that and the responsibility, and you see it behind closed doors, don't you? The trials of everything. But I've always loved singing though. As a kid, there's videos of me just twirling around like this chubby toddler, twirling around in the kitchen, just singing Darlene Zschech songs, and just so. My arms wide open, just always have loved worship and always have loved singing. I always have loved church, actually. I'm such a church lover. So I never had the intention of, great, I'm going to do my own music. I just loved the whole thing, and have always been quite creative. I was a photographer for like 4 years and ran my own business doing that, and just always loved, creating and writing little things on the piano. But again, never had the intention to great, I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to write songs and send them to a label. I'm going to, do open mic nights. I actually hated all of that. I didn't really want to sing in front of anyone.
Yeah.
But I think it was just over the years, just little encouragements, being on the road with Dad, and he'd be like, "Oh, Els, why don't you just sing?" This was after Delirious broke up and Dad was doing more solo stuff.
Yeah.
Being on the road with him, and he would be like, "Oh, Els, why don't you just come and sing backing vocals with me? I've got just grab some in ears. We've got some here. Just try it. Don't worry, you can stand really back, back of the stage. We might not even put your mic up, but just try it." And it's kind of been that throughout my life. Go on, Els, just try it. Just with both my parents, actually. "Oh, don't worry, it's fine. Just try it." So it's kind of been like that throughout my teenage years of just trying it and jumping in with my goggles on in the swimming pool. Do you know what I mean? Just oh, just do it. But it was probably up until a year and a half ago where I felt God really speak to my heart in doing my own thing with music and writing my own songs for this next generation. So it wasn't actually that long ago that I felt like this is what I was supposed to be doing. So it's been quite a journey in that sense, but I'm still learning. I still can't really call myself an artist, to be honest. It kind of cringes me out, freaks me out, makes me super nervous. It's still weird to me. But that's, I guess, what I am right now, and that's what I'm doing, and that's my life. So I've got to claim it, but I'm just loving writing music and singing over people and being on the roads. Just how I felt I don't know, as a kid, it's the same excitement of going on a tour bus. It's all so exciting. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess it's been just a constant little encouragement throughout my life of just go, just do it. And then it's kind of ended up to this where I've tried something and I'm now in it.
Yeah, that's awesome. mean, you mentioned being inspired by Darlene Zschech, and she's one of the most well-known worship leaders of all time. Do you feel like that call in your life to write songs for the church, or maybe not, or somewhere in between? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I definitely feel my music, what I'm trying to write, what I'm trying to get out is songs for this generation, for the generations to come, for believers, but also for non-believers. Like, I've got such a heart for evangelism, and I've got a bunch of friends who don't know Jesus. I was the only Christian in my school. I grew up, people would probably think I was, I don't know, I didn't know any non-Christians, but my whole kind of world mostly was non-Christians.
Right.
But then a large chunk of my life was full in the Christian music industry, going on tour, so I really was dipping in and out of two worlds my whole life. So I want to write music that my friend from school will listen to. I don't want to, I don't want to block them out of anything that's gonna, and not to say that congregational music does that. I don't think it does. I think God can do whatever he wants with music, but my aim is just to invite people in, and almost like, oh no, Christian music doesn't have to freak you out, and it doesn't have to be super wordy. It can be fun and a good melody, and something that you can dance to or add to your party playlist. That's what I see the vision for my music is, just an invitation, like a big hug, like, oh no, come on, let's do this. It's the best life is life with Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, let us show you, let me teach you, let me tell you stories and that sort of thing. So I think there's some congregational songs like bubbling in me, and hopefully will come out one day, and there's stuff that can be sung. But my aim is not to write a song for Sundays.
Yeah.
It's just for life.
Well, I was reading the lyrics of one of your songs today. I was reading the lyrics of "Maker of the Moon." I love this line. It says, "Hello, tamer of the tides. Every day you're moving deeper in my life. You're the wildness in the wind, and I feel you so much closer in my skin." And you're telling a story. Really, you're painting a picture of who our God is, and what does that picture of who our God is look like to you? Because we can paint God in many different ways.
Yes.
And sometimes as humans, we can make some pretty terrible paintings of God in our lives. So what is the picture that you're trying to paint through music of who God is?
Yeah, I think my number one thing is probably God, the creator. Like, I love imagery and I love creation and just being outside. I'm obsessed with natural light and fresh air as a person anyway. Like, I think that's probably why I did photography too. Like, I have to, like, natural light is, if I don't get it in my day-to-day, I will be so miserable. Probably everyone else. But I think I'm so intrigued by creation. I'm so intrigued that birds and trees and the waves, like, it intrigues me. I'm like, how it can't have just appeared, and oh no, but there's a God that created all of this and all for a purpose, and everything is worshipping. That song "So Will I" as well, that is one of my favorite worship songs, and how it says the rocks cry out on worship, and I just like, oh, isn't that mental? That's so crazy that our God has created something so beautiful and that we can enjoy, and not just, I don't know, we can take it in, can't we? We can sit and have like a drink on the beach and take it all in. And so I definitely think I see my God as a creator, obviously as a father and all the other words, but I love to see my God as the ultimate creator, and works continue through us and changing us. And yeah,
absolutely. And I'm curious, as you're writing too, where do you find yourself doing most of your writing? You said you like being outside, you like natural light. Where is it that you find yourself being most inspired? Do you have a home studio that you have access to, or how does that look for you?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't have a home studio. I have lots of like writing trips in Nashville, which are planned, and I'll bring ideas and just being there, you know, all of that process, which I love, and every day's different. But also I do lots of writing, just like walking around. Like
Very cool.
love my voice memo app is probably my most used app.
Yes.
/ Instagram, got to say it, haven't I?
Yes.
But my voice memo app, like I've got the weirdest notes of like in Wagamama's, like, which is a restaurant in Brighton, like by the hand dryer, just recording a voice memo of like a melody I've got, you know.
Yeah,
it's just the randomest things, but just walking around and noticing things and people, watching my family, listening to conversations, taking it all in. I'm just, you know, a lyric here and there or a melody I have, you know, waking up. It's, to be honest, it's never the same.
Yeah.
All different. But yeah, I love being outside. I love sitting by windows, sitting in coffee shops, you know, all of that. I love it.
Have you had the chance to do any sort of lengthy tours yet as Elle Limebear, or because I know you have one coming up this fall?
Yes, I've got a tour coming up with I'm They this September, which I'm super pumped about.
Yeah, you'll have a great time.
Yeah, I'm so excited to tour those guys. So that's like a month tour, and then I was just on the road with Francesca Battistelli in
great.
March, which was amazing.
She's the best.
Oh my goodness, yeah, we learned so much from her too, especially because her husband manages her too, and my husband does all my day-to-day management, so we were asking a lot of questions. But no, so yeah, kind of like month tours, but we've loved it. It's been such a joy to do that. Very scary too, all at the same time. Yeah,
it can be a little overwhelming to step into sort of, you know, a different world, but you're gonna have a blast on that tour with I Am They. They are the sweetest people, and my good friend Dan Bremnes is also on it, and he's a fellow Canadian, so you'll have a blast.
No, I'm so pumped. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, this year, can't wait.
And so Tom gets to come with you on the road then?
Yes, he does. Amazingly, we can't quite believe that we get to do it together. So we're loving it.
That's really special. That's awesome. One of the things I wanted to ask you as well, you know, a lot of us can be influenced musically by all sorts of people, but who is somebody, I guess, outside of your family who influenced you musically in a it could even be a way of singing, a way of writing, or just a way of carrying oneself? Who's somebody that really, really you look up to?
Wow, that's a great question. Yeah, growing up, gosh, so many different bands, and I listened to a lot of Bombay Bicycle Club, like boy bands growing up, Two Door Cinema Club, and I loved the instrumentation they used, Bombay. I loved all the different sounds, and that definitely inspired me, all the weird samples that they'd use. So Bombay Bicycle Club would be a big one probably, but also people like Leanne La Havas, who does, I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's a Brit, and she's beautiful vocalist, and just the way she uses her voice in her songs, like crazy melodies. Lots of Scandinavian people I'm loving at the moment. Yeah, I don't know if I could pinpoint, but I think also, it's so cliche, but Delirious, I think, has had like a massive impact. Just like watching hundreds and hundreds of tours from being a youngster, you know, just the sets that they would use on stage, and the costumes and the lights and the visuals and everything. I was just so inspired from a young kid, and the lyrics that they would use, the music, it was so out there for that time. So I think even though it's my dad, I am inspired by him and what they did, and just think it's crazy how I don't know how out there they were at that time. And I thought as a kid everyone did that, but looking back, I'm like, oh no, they really did. They were groundbreakers, and so I think Delirious, obviously.
Well, I mean,
lame.
No, I think it's awesome, because it's great to hear your perspective, because I look at what they did, and they took risks to be misunderstood.
Yes.
And I I applaud them for taking risks to be misunderstood, because I think primarily your dad is been someone to say that why can't performance art be worship as well, and why can't why is that one or the other? And totally. I always really respected that, and I'm only going to bring this up because we're back on the Delirious train right now. But when I was probably maybe 12 or 13 years old, my dad was playing, they had like an 80s metal reunion night. My dad was in like a Christian 80s metal band.
Love it.
And they had like a reunion night at Cornerstone Festival, and Delirious was headlining that year. And I, of course, knew a couple of their songs, but being 13 or 12, like, you still don't really understand music and bands and stuff. And like, you have a Discman with like a 10-second anti-skip. Like, you probably don't even know you probably might remember them, but yeah, a CD Walkman or whatever. And I saw them playing, and there's probably about 60 or 80,000 people in this crowd. And I remember looking up to my dad, and I just, like, all I remember saying is, I'm going to do that someday.
Wow. I'm
going to do that. And then, fast forward about maybe 10 or 11 years later, when your dad, when Martin came to Canada to do a tour on his own, I got to play for him, play guitar and sing those songs with them. So I was like, you know what? Not 80,000 people at Cornerstone, but a couple thousand in this church. It's close enough. Lord, I can die now. So
that's amazing. Full circle.
So I'm all that to say, I have been equally as inspired by.
That's amazing.
By Martin and your dad, and now I'm finding myself inspired by your lyrics and challenged by them, and wanting to read deeper into this and dive deeper into this album. So tell me a little bit about the making of the Elle Limebear EP. Yes.
So the EP, 6 different songs, very different songs, I think. They all kind of came together one by one. Lots of writing for it, to be honest, lots of songs. But it's probably over a year and a half of back and forth to Nashville and bringing over ideas, working with loads of different people. But I think it was my first time really writing like on my own, in the sense of not writing with my home family, like the Bright City guys in Brighton and my dad. It was like a whole new experience for me, flying over to Nashville and in these writing sessions with like 2 other guys, and trying to get emotional and trying to like dig deep in my heart and fish things out. And what does Ellie really think about this? What does she actually want to write about? What does she believe? What does she want to sing? What does she... so all of that.
Who were some of the writers you got to write with?
Oh my goodness, so many amazing writers. I got to write with Ethan Hulse, Jonathan Smith, Jason Ingram, my Bright City fan back at home, Jordan Malowski, Tommy Prophet. Gosh, this Jesse Early, so many
tons. That's great.
Beautiful, amazing people. So it was such a fun experience, just getting to, write with new, exciting people, and the ideas just came out of that season, really, in my life, though, this past year and a half. Like the Call on Your Name song, it's all about my fear of the dark. Still, I have this fear of 22-year-old married woman, and still has the fear of the dark of the night, and that song is all about that, and calling on the name of Jesus in those times, and those dark times for us all where we don't know what to do, we don't know what to turn to, and Jesus is the only one that can change things. So that song's about that. But then you've got Love Song and Fly, which are super fun and dancey, and that's totally my character. I love a good dance, so that incorporates that sort of side of my personality.
Awesome.
And Holding Me Still, that song's just really a nostalgic song of looking over my life, seeing the thread of God's love still speaking to me as a child, but he's still speaking to me now, and calling my name and holding me still, and he's so that song's all about that. So yeah, and then Find Me Your Feet. It's a simple, honest truth about, you know, how can we come to the feet of Jesus? You know, how are we worthy of doing that? Don't know what song to sing to him. Don't know what to bring. So yeah, it's just a collection of songs, really. They're all quite different, I think. So listening through the whole EP, it's not like seamless.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So every track's got a different producer. Every track's got different writers and elements. So it's quite an interesting listen, I guess.
But that all is part of who you are, and that
Totally.
is worth embracing, the eclectic taste and creativity that you bring, and that's what makes an artist, in my opinion, unique or even captivating, is that they just lean into who they are and not just one side of who they are. So I really applaud you for on a first EP for just saying, nope, this is who I am, and you're gonna get all versions.
Thank you. Yeah, it really is all versions.
Well, hey, we're gonna listen to a clip of a song, and I'm gonna let you choose it. And what song would you like to either reintroduce people to or introduce people to for the first time off of your latest EP?
Yes, I would love to introduce Call on Your Name. I hope you like it.
Awesome. And I just saw that there's a remix of it as well. So maybe we'll play that, a little bit of that at the end of the podcast as well. So.
Oh my, yeah.
Well, thanks so much for
so
taking
dancing.
time, Ellie. I really appreciate it. And I think my wifey and I will try and catch you on the road on that I Am They tour and come say hello.
Yes. Amazing. Yeah, I'd love that. Thank you so much, Josh. It's been so great.
Absolutely.
Thanks for asking too.
Yeah, well, closing out this podcast, we're going to check out Call on Your Name from Elle Limebear. Her new EP is online. You can check it out everywhere. She's heading out on the road with I Am They and Dan Bremnes this fall. Make sure you check it out. Here's Call on Your Name. Well, there you have it. Season 2 has come to a close, but don't worry, we are going to be coming right back. We're not really taking long of a break at all. We're going to probably have a special episode released in between there as well. Cannot wait to get back to interviewing people. Lots of great interviews already have happened that I cannot wait to share with you, and many more are scheduled to come. It's been so fun. So make sure that you're following us online. Please do that on social media. And if you could, I'd really appreciate if there's anything you can do to spread the word. Tell a friend. Send the link to this podcast to a friend that you think might be interested. It would mean the world to us if we could just get the word out about this a little bit more. And if you haven't listened to all the episodes in this season 2, let me take you back. We started with Meredith Andrews, and we had Kim Walker-Smith, John Egan, The Afters, Mia Fields, Mike Donahue of 10th Avenue North, Ben Criss of The Glorious Unseen. We threw a little special episode in there with John Cooper of Skillet. We had Will McGinnis of Audio Adrenaline, and we closed it off with Elle Limebear. So it's been a fun season. Cannot wait to get back at it. We will be back in just a few short weeks with another episode of Overflow Beyond the Music. My name's Josh McCabe. Thanks so much for hanging out. We'll see you again real soon.